with that, I would like to just say we're so excited to introduce you to these 7 incredible teams. Each team will introduce themselves, their solutions, while sharing their Lookup Innovator Challenge journey and what their next steps will be. There are a select few adult allies in the room who've been asked to record feedback for each team. If this is you, go ahead and make sure that your forms are up and ready to go. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting our cohort. To everyone in the room, if you like what you hear today, consider reaching out to these teams so that you can stay even more closely connected to their work. Um, I know that it's easier to continue to move forward when you feel the support of someone cheering you on the sidelines. So please, if you feel led to connect with them, please do so. Before we start, I do have an announcement. During our cohort, innovator teams were asked to participate in a drawing that extends access to their grant funds and resources by keeping up with monthly video journals of their progress through the program. And we like went through all the videos and looked through, and I do have the winner, and the winner will be Asian Girl Gamers Questcraft. So excellent job, you guys. Like that was incredible. Um, you have another month of access to resources and everything. So incredible work. And you'll be able to hear them do their presentation a little later. So as our first team gets settled into presenting, if you do have any questions for a particular team, go ahead and immediately drop it into the chat. And then once everyone has presented, we'll come back to them as long as that there's time at the end. And if your question doesn't get answered, maybe reach out to the team and ask that question if we don't get a moment to get to it. What I'd like to do now is go ahead and get disconnected up and ready to go. There are our first team, and each one will have about 8 minutes to present, and then we'll hear next from Black Girls Advance. But first, we're going to start with Disconnected. So whenever you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and turn my camera off just because I think my internet is becoming slow. So I'll be here and Disconnected whenever you're ready. You can take it away.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So yeah, we're disconnected, and we're right now creating a 45-minute documentary that's meant to go into schools across the country to explore how social media has really changed childhood. And what we want to do is explore it from the youth perspective to, have young people tell this story and to tell it well. Yeah. Yeah, to see the world, things dangerous to come, to see behind the walls, to draw closer, to find each other and to feel. That is the purpose of life. Yeah, we really like that quote. I think it's a testament to what we're trying to build at Disconnected. Yeah, so a little bit more about me. We'll each introduce ourselves. So my name's Ben Foreman. I am just finished my freshman year at the University of Colorado. I'm studying mechanical engineering, and I first got interested in this space when I was 14 years old, pretty much addicted to Snapchat and Instagram. And I took a break and I went offline. I disconnected, and it totally changed my life. And so my goal is to try and spread my experience and everything I've learned onto the next generation. So yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Kay. I'm in Tokyo right now, so it's like 6 a.m. here, but happy to join. I'm a rising junior at Columbia studying cognitive science, and part of the film, I do a lot of the fiscal business production, which includes stuff like helping out with grants, funding, and some marketing.
And I'm Valentine. I'm kind of side by side with Kay as the finance lead, working on all the grants and really any writing that's kind of required of the team. I'm really interested as an anthropology major in just social phenomenon in general. So that's where I come in and kind of being interested in social media and how that plays out in people's lives. And unfortunately, our director could not be here, but his name is Benjamin Alberson, and he is really fascinated by cinematography. And he's been traveling from California to Arizona meeting with lots and lots of people to get interviews for the film. And obviously was side by side with Ben during his experience for the film. And today we'd like to present our trailer that we've been working really hard on, and we hope you enjoy.
Can people hear? Sorry.
No, I don't hear anything.
Is there a way to do audio off of it?
Let's see. Sorry.
Go ahead and stop the share. And then when you go to reshare again, there's a little button at the bottom that says share with audio.
Ah, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it audible?
Don't care if it hurts. Wanna have control. Want a perfect body. Want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so very special.
So the idea was like, okay, I've been off of these apps for 5 years now. What would happen if I just went on it for 1 month, every single day, for 5 hours a day? Something I've noticed is the irritation without being on the apps, but then feeling more calm when I'm back on them. You know, get that little hit of dopamine, go back to working the problem, watch a little YouTube, go back to the problem.
We're denying a generation of people, for the first time, the ability to like practice dealing with these uncomfortable emotions.
There's not a reality where a child should die because social media told them to kill themselves.
You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took?
Suffering is part of being human, being part of the world. So it's also an end, a path to the relief suffering.
Every year in November around the world, young people and their families and friends take a 1-month break from social media to improve their mental health and focus on forming healthier relationships with the people around them.
I choose what I focus on. I choose where I give my attention.
For so much of our days, we're bombarded by stimulation and dopamine and distraction. So right now, what I want you to do is everyone to close their eyes and take one big, deep breath in.
Okay, awesome. Now with the goals for the coming months, we have sort of like a 4-step process. First, we would like to reach out to different people in the field of mental health, filmmaking, funding, and reach out to them for feedback on the film and to possibly get some fiscal support. The second process is Ben and our team have been working with an editor. His name is Sean, and specifically him and Ben have been tirelessly working on editing the film and making sure it comes together in the coming weeks. And then part of that is working with a musician and score composition. And we've had someone from the Northwestern School of Music and who went to Juilliard Pre-College working with us to help craft the composition and the scoring. And then finally, organization co-sign. We hope to reach out to different companies and organizations in our field to potentially have their logo on us, have them support us, etc.
Yeah, and a little bit more about funding. We've been leveraging our high school and college alumni networks to meet with people who are interested in the field of mental health, but also just filmmaking for fiscal support. And we've also been leveraging LinkedIn sort of mutuals and sort of existing networks that we have. We got a tip from one of our LinkedIn connections to really hone in on getting credible telehealth companies to possibly back us, as that would also kind of help boost the credibility of the film. And obviously our friends and family who have been hearing about our progress with the film are very much invested in the film, both creatively, socially, and fiscally. And we're in the process of launching a crowdfunding platform venture, which is through AngelLink, which is our fiscal sponsor right now.
Yeah, so where we want the film to be played, first and foremost, definitely in schools. We've already connected with some across the country, some in Colorado, some in New York, but actually showing it to kids and then being able to interact and start conversations and have reflections because a film's great, but what we want is to start a movement of young people passionate about this issue. Digital community, yeah, so we're going to be actually utilizing the apps that we might be critiquing as a way to reach people because we want to meet them where they're at. So this summer, I've been working a lot of content and finding ways to make stuff that I don't think like to not be hypocritical. I want to make stuff that makes people want to put down their phone, and start living. So anyway, I'm really excited for that. And then film festivals. Obviously, Benji, our director, is a super talented filmmaker, and what we want to do is both have the school process, but also the film festival because we think that will bolster our reach and it's just a great way to get the film out there.
Yeah, so here's a bit of a backstory behind how our film started. Um, Actually, like a bunch of years ago, Ben deleted his social media entirely. Part of his recruitment for lacrosse and not having time. So that's kind of where it all started with his experience going blank from social media. And then in high school, when this is still happening, me and Ben went to the same high school, started the Happiness Project, which was a lot of emphasis on mental health and meditation, but also at the same time concurrently deleting social media for 2 weeks for everyone involved. And we did this during midterm and finals exam period, and we found out from surveys and from individual feedback that that made a big difference in people's lives, not just academically, but in terms of like reaching people and kind of their social network. They felt more in touch with their lives. And then who's our director, couldn't join today. We were able to, Ben was able to find him at Boulder, and along with him and Sean, our editor, we're able to create a team. Very motivated to work on this film. And then finally, me and Valentine kind of asked Valentine early on in the year to join. And again, his interest and passion in social phenomenon and doing anthropology and just being invested in this film really helped us come together as a whole.
Yeah, and we're running out of time here, but essentially, our big impact sort of idea is to have our film be the catalyst for a lot of personal reflection and conversations between people who are adolescents. And then hopefully, this will facilitate new habits, better habits, and eventually, maybe even policy changes when it comes to social media and how these kind of networks are leveraged. And we just wanted to close it out by giving LookUp a huge thank you for being the first grant that we received and the first one that we applied to, because that sort of initial feeling has been very pivotal for us continuing our work and has opened so many doors for us. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we did have some people join during the middle of some of those. If you're an adult ally and you've been asked to have your feedback forms ready, I just want to remind you that you have that and that you're filling those out as needed. And then next we're gonna have Clementina share. Her team is Black Girls Advance. And again, I'm excited for you to hear this one. Uh, I'm just gonna stop talking because really, this is gonna be really cool. Um, Clementina, whenever you're ready, just go ahead and let us know for the next slide, and then we've got you covered.
Thank you so much, Kate. Kate, you're the best, by the way. Like you're always there, so supportive. So I appreciate you all always. So hello everyone. My name is Clementina Jose. Just a little bit about me before I go into things. I'm an advocate for mental health, wellness, and creating safe spaces for diverse communities, but most especially for my Black girlies, to really give us some love and some light. So the title of my project is Black Girls Advance Self-Love in the Social Mirror. Kate, next slide, please. All right, so let's be real. Navigating social media is tough, right? But especially navigating social media as a Black girl, it can be super tough, right? There are a lot of mixed messages between good hair this, good hair that, messages surrounding body frames, like you have to be thick, you have to look this way, you need to assimilate, you need to tone down yourself. This is the standard of beauty. There's so much, on social media, and it can be really, really tiring, right? And my worry for years as I was growing, and going into adulthood, my worry always was like, okay, a fellow young Black girl, like they're going to eventually have to come on social media and they're going to have to see these messages as well. So I was always trying to figure out a way and creating a space as well for them to hear something affirming, right? So that's where this idea kind of came to mind. So Black Girls Advance Self-Love in the Social Mirror. This project is focused on creating a safe space for Black girls to connect with their peers, to hear affirming stories and tips and so on from older Black girls and women who have navigated the social media space already, but are just trying to give some guidance and some insight to younger people. And the whole idea surrounding this project was for Black girls to take control of their own image. Next slide, please. All right. So in the simplest form, the way that I planned for this to look was for Black girls to share their experiences, Black girls and women. So the idea was to bring women anywhere from the ages of 18 to 30 years old, and for them to just share their experiences with social media and to offer advice to younger girls who were entering that space. I initially planned to bring 20 Black girls onto the project where they would just be sharing their experiences and I would be compensating them because I feel like, oftentimes social media in general, they like to profit off of Black stories, but don't like to pay Black people. So for me, I'm like, I want to bring their stories in, but I also want to fairly compensate them as well. Now that shifted a bit to where I only brought on 15 Black girls and women to share their personal stories because I also did want to highlight other content as well. But really, I started from scratch with this project. I didn't have any testimonies. I didn't have that much of strong connections. I was just like, I'm passionate about this. Let's go. All gas, no brakes. Next slide, please. So yeah, and the general goals for the project were just to bring on, eventually, like I said, I made the shift in the slight pivot to bring on 15 testimonials, grow the page because it was an Instagram page that I created, and I plan to grow the page to 100 followers and just spark reflection on social media usage, right? And to just have just these conversations, right? And also for other young Black women to just come across this and just really at least see something positive for once on social media. And just the desired impact was to help Black girls use social media mindfully and not to tie their worth to what they see, right? And feel like they have to fit into a box of what it means to be a Black woman. And just the general call to action was to engage, to build community, and to reimagine what social media can be for Black girls in a healthy way. And ultimately, the general solution was to create a space where Black girls feel seen, heard, and supported online in a real way, right? Next slide. And the ending point, thankfully, I was able to receive those 15 testimonials, but I also was actually able to post them on our page. We actually have more than 100 followers, thankfully, on the page, and we've garnered about over 20,000 views just off of the stories that we've published. So it's been amazing, right? And there were also a lot more women that actually expressed interest in the project. And I'm like, who knows? Maybe in the future, like we'll keep doing it, right? But right now we couldn't. But we did have a lot of interest. We received a lot of positive feedback from younger Black girls as well. Also, like Black girls who were even older than I am. So it was amazing to see. And yeah, we just were able to reach so many people. So I was so thankful for that. Next slide, please. And also another point that I actually forgot to mention was I was able to hire a social media coordinator, which was super helpful. I have the vision, but I needed someone to execute because I'm not the best with creating flyers and all that different stuff. So I was thankful to bring on someone to actually help me execute. And I was getting so many compliments like, oh my gosh, the content looks super good. And I'm like, please, like I have the vision, but somebody else actually helped me to bring it alive. So I was super thankful for that. And where I want to be with this in a few months. I remember my social media coordinator, who unfortunately isn't able to be here right now, One thing that she asked me when we were getting closer to the end is, so what do you want to do with this? How are you going to continue going? Like, what's the plan? And I was like, I don't really know, but I know that I'm really passionate about, like I said, creating safe spaces for Black girls. And I feel like that can happen online, but that can also happen in person. So one thing I was really thinking about is creating programming focused on Black girls' self-esteem, self-confidence, mental health and wellness, and also creating, once again, these safe spaces to address social media and life challenges, but specifically in community. I was thinking about hosting activities. Eventually, one day, it's always been a dream of mine to create a conference, actually, but that's in the works. Another thing that I wanted to do was to launch a scholarship because so I graduated with my bachelor's in psychology and I also graduated with my master's recently in social work. And my goal was for Black Girls Advance to not only help Black girls advance in their mental health and wellness, but to advance in their education, to advance in all facets of their life. So what that meant for me was also creating scholarship opportunities so that Black girls can further their education without having to be so stressed out. And what that meant was when I was in college, I received a book scholarship every semester, thankfully, where I was able to get $250 to help offset some of my book expenses. So for me, now that I've graduated, I want to give back in a way. So that's really what I want to do in the future with Black Girls Advance. But thankfully, with me actually, sharing with other people on LinkedIn and other platforms about what I've been doing, I was actually able to receive a bit more funding, small funding to start that scholarship actually. So hopefully next spring, I'll be like launching everything and being able to give back to fellow Black girls. Next slide, please. And what support do I need next? Okay, so funding, because the ideas are great, but we need money. We need money. So funding for programming and also for scholarship initiatives. Like I said, I want to host this in-person conference, but that's money. We see 2025 finances, the economy, it's a lot. So we need money to do these things. I'm also seeking partnerships and sponsorships to really just bring this together professionally, because the last thing that I believe is that Black girls should just like I should just, host something and it doesn't look good. It's not as appealing. Like, I don't want to throw something together and expect Black girls to come and support it. No, I want to host something that's professional. I want to host something that's well thought out. And I want to host something that they rightfully deserve, right? They deserve to be in spaces that are well funded and where they feel supported and they're actually able to fully express themselves. So that's the support that I need. Next slide, please. And who needs to see this project most? Black girls for sure. Black women as well, but also other people too, because I feel like, yes, this is specifically for Black girls, but the more that we get the word out, somebody and you can share this with somebody and they can share this with somebody and then we can get this funding going. So I need everyone to hear about this, but of course this is specifically a space for Black girls because at times like it seems like we have a lot of spaces, but we really don't. Like thankfully some of these organizations are starting to come more to light, but it's still not enough, right? So we need more of these spaces and we need more people to kind of hear about it and also help fund these initiatives. And then to just increase visibility, I plan to use more targeted outreach through social media, community partnerships, collaborations, engaging with schools, youth groups, and influencers who resonate with this mission and who will just help amplify this message. Next slide, please. Or actually, I think that's it. Oh, no, sorry, that's not it. My final thoughts are I just have loved being a part of this journey and just witnessing my own growth. I didn't think that I was excited to get the grant, but I was also like, okay, how am I going to do this? But I'm just really proud of myself. And I'm also so thankful for the support that I've received from Kate, from Mignon, from everyone. Like, it's just been great. I saw so many other innovators who were following the page, and I really appreciate that. So I'm just super duper thankful for the support. And I'm just grateful just for the community that I've been able to be a part of through this. And that is all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Clementina. We are so proud of you. Next, we have Asian Girl Gamers Questcraft. And go ahead and take some time to set up your screen and everything. Again, a gentle reminder to the adult allies in the room who've been asked to share feedback. Hope you have that form up ready for you. And take it away whenever you're ready, Salma.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you guys. Good evening. Hope everyone's having a good day. It's like 5:30 for me right now, PM. I'm Salma. I'm a senior in Brew College in New York City. I'm a coding coach in CodeSpeak Labs, which is incubating Questcraft, where I create some of our stories along with my team based in New York City and California, like Sid, Jen, and Jengis. And today I'm just going to introduce Questcraft. It's a storytelling platform leveraging tabletop role-playing games to support mental health, build social skills, foster creativity, and explore diverse cultures. So to fully understand, this is all kind of starts from like an observation. Hmm. Oh, okay. Okay, worked. Sorry. So we noticed a lot of the youth were spending their free time on screens, and studies showed that tweens and teens were spending an average of 5+ hours on screens. And it was also rising the rates of depression and anxiety driven by social isolation, and it's higher for kids of color and those of low income households. So as an elder sibling, obviously I observe my younger siblings and they definitely have less online restrictions. And I would like to say that like we need this more now than ever since most of the youth has access to digital world and it consumes like a large part of their daily life now. So in our vision, we know that kids love to pretend play. Like you'll be familiar with like playing house when you were a kid, playing with like figures like dolls or stuffed animals, giving them like a personality, a character, a story of their own. And similar to that, D&D, a game, Dungeons and Dragons, many adults love this. It has great story building, but also very complex rules. So we don't have something very similar in-person games for ages in the middle between the early youth and the adults. So we wanted something for like tweens and teens. Um, Despite research showing like role-playing games are so positive for the mental health benefits, we don't really have something in between. So we wanted Questcraft to create a safe space and fun alternative for the youth to build and maintain friendships. So this was our solution, and we took concepts like D&D, but simplified the rules so it lets the kids enter a world building without getting into complex rules and background knowledge, and it allows them to go on epic quests in more diverse cultures, pushing back the Eurocentric boundaries, since a lot of D&D stories are kind of like European based and like Western mythology based. And we wanted to explore new ideas and even get into like educational topics and put like a twist to them. So this is kind of what it looks like in real life. We would be like facing each other. We would have our participants talking, engaging, choosing characters of themselves, finding commonalities, and we use elements from D&D like character sheets, maps, and obviously like the famous 20-sided roll dice, which kids and adults love to roll. And we really wanted to push like tabletop rolling playing games into the world and educational institutions like schools because there's so much backed research that shows its credibility that like after 8 weeks of tabletop role-playing games, participants experience significant decrease in depression, anxiety, stress, and significant increase in self-esteem and self-efficiency. It had research showing increase of qualities we want to see in our youth, especially as someone working as a teacher and seeing a lot of these young kids. We want them to be creative, self-efficient, gain these social skills, and even gain like economic gains. So the Questcraft you see today is not what we started off with. We initially started off just like an idea. It was a Techstar startup contest, and that's where we pushed a role-playing game platform for kids, which is also fun, but it increases creativity, empathy, problem solving, and friendship. And after that, we received a grant from the Asian Women Giving Circle, and that's when we were able to really create like three Asian stories, East and South Asian RPG games based in Asian mythology and folktale. And this is also when we start our lookup journey. So we have made so much progress since then. We finished our Asian cultured focus stories. We developed a series of quests rooted in Bengali mythology, and we play tested them with our students. And we received strong feedback from our school-based program launch. And these pilots were funded by the 4.0 School of Initiative Community Center Learning Solutions, and we were successfully able to graduate from their program as well. And since then, we've been developing stories like a sci-fi quest, helping middle school students work through cyberbullying made by like my partner Sid. And these stories are now being requested to us by schools, and they're giving us topics they want their students to learn. So now we're able to create like customized stories for them. And now we're developing Questcraft with 8 more schools so far in New York and California. And we also had Jen present a TED Talk at TEDx UC Irvine on the importance of role-playing games in education, which will be out like pretty soon. So now we have way bigger goals. Since we started LookUp, we want to double the number of schools we operate in our live facilitators. We want to gain more additional grant funding and begin like a sustainable funding stream and continue like our role. Develop like custom branded quests, kind of like what we're doing for schools, but like for companies, foundation, other educational organizations, prototyping like our resources to external educators and facilitators so anyone can run the quest craft. And we can have like a subscription-based platform so that it's not only us, and even if you don't have access to us, like you could run the games on your own. And obviously to demonstrate like through impact evaluation how this supports players' well-being and mental health. So yeah, we have gotten so far from transforming classrooms into creative worlds for students to build social emotional skills, practice storytelling, collaborate, all while meeting academic standards and supporting their mental health. And we really appreciate everyone that's been with us in our journey. Shout out to our mentor, Iski, for helping us, taking out her time, giving us great feedback, keeping us on track. She made us do like a gold list. And a lot of the goals we did accomplish. And, she would give us like feedback and be like, oh, interview teachers so you can get better feedback. And we just loved hearing and keeping up with the journey of our other lookup peers, and they're so inspiring. Shout out to Jasmine for reaching out to participate in our pilot, which we are still working on. And thank you to Kate, Min Young for all the support. You guys always answer questions so quickly, and you're giving us resources like the Canva Pro, which we created this presentation with, and that amazing list of grants. And just thank you overall for your support. And I really hope you guys appreciate this presentation.
Thank you so, so much. That was incredible. Next up, we will have Digital Decode. So Angie, when you're ready, you're welcome to take over the screen. And yeah, once you start, I'll start your time and then we'll be all set. Again, if you have questions for our innovators, drop them in the chat. We want to know. Let's answer those questions if you got them.
Can I get a thumbs up that we can see the screen?
Yes, it looks great.
Awesome, thank you. All right, hi folks. So my name is Angie and this is Digital Decode. Our tagline is navigating and writing our online narratives. So just a little about me. I am a first-generation queer Latina immigrant. My work is mostly in community and youth-centered, specifically on topics of social justice issues that impact young adults that are Black and brown. And I truly try to create a space that make folks feel affirmed, valued, and empowered to make a change in their communities. And so the challenge that I was presented with is that, very similarly, social media platforms amplify the sexualization of adolescents and reinforce unattainable beauty standards. And we see this specifically with Black and brown girls and women. So a lot of the algorithmic content that gets repopulated is based on Eurocentric beauty ideals and hypersexualized portrayals of what girls are supposed to look like, how they're supposed to act, how they're supposed to dress. And I am going to give a content warning because I do want to show some pictures of content warning of fat phobia and sexualization of girls. So this is what the 2000s was like. I'm thinking specifically like early 2000s and 2010s. And growing up, these were all of the messages in the media, right? That perfect body had to be thin, it had to be white or very, very light skin. Being pear-shaped is no shape for a girl, but then it's like the Madonna whore complex, right? Because then you're extremely sexualized on the other end. Or stop feeding fat, start eating right is a crazy rhetoric because you need food to eat. And we would think that this ends, but the messages of the 2000s continues today. It's just been rebranded. And we see this in TikTok videos now. So what I eat in a day as a skinny legend, or what I eat in a day of 12,000 calories. And I just want to say now, 12,000 calories is a crazy low amount of food. That's usually for children, but I digress. And then others where it's dance videos or trends that were originally created by Black and brown creators, and then, white people kind of come in and do that, but it still sexualizes young girls, specifically Black and brown girls. And then we have being fat is not fun, no matter how good you look, or the trend that was going around of, being a big back. And believe it or not, like that does stay with kids. Like kids will come and be like, why are you posting me with that audio or with those words? And I just want to highlight this one in the middle where it says, we need to address the body dysmorphia that Black women get after being surrounded by white women their whole lives. And again, this is what we're seeing online all the time, that one standard of beauty is the standard of beauty. So that very much needs to be broken down. So my solution for this is teaching agency and social justice topics to young girls. So Digital Decode is a comprehensive interactive media literacy curriculum. It's designed to empower adolescents, specifically Black and brown girls, to navigate and challenge harmful digital narratives. And we do this so we can be able to identify sexualization in videos or on posts and challenge racist and misogynistic content and comments. And we started with outreach and marketing. I was emailing en masse to school counselors and youth groups and posting on Instagram and LinkedIn. And I'm not gonna lie, getting high school students to sign up for a program no one's ever heard of is hard. And then, of course, the day of the deadline, you've got like 10 new applications coming in. But we got 10 applications and we were able to accept 4 students, which is really nice for our first initial cohort. I was building this from the ground up. I didn't have nobody telling me like, this is what you do next. I was just going with the flow. And the goals of the program, they're going to do their own digital narrative, reflective art piece. They're writing a blog. And originally, they were going to help me co-create a media literacy curriculum that we can then like populate into schools. But I realized this is the media literacy curriculum. I was just writing it without realizing it. So that feels good. During our meetings with the girls, we did a lot of reflection activities. So we did this activity that I call a social media audit. They scroll through their Instagram and TikTok for a few minutes and then answer some questions. So these are, what are common beauty trends that you see on your Explore page? Excuse me. Or who's represented and who is missing in my feed. And as you can see, they're saying like it's mostly clean girl aesthetic, which we know was just an aesthetic stolen from Black and brown women. Or silk presses and straight hair, or I only see slick back trends and videos on lymphatic drainage. And all the popular people are light skinned. There's a lot of teens and college students. I don't really see dark skinned girls with natural 4C hair. So there's very much they're missing the folks that one look like them. And even if they don't look like them, you should still see a diversified audience on your screens. And because of time, we won't go through all of these, but these are other examples of reflective activities they did. So what messages about race and gender and beauty are shown? What story times did you see? And they're very honest about the fact that they see more white specific standard bodies that are highlighted on their social media instead of what they would rather see or something that's more inclusive. And then we talked about self-worth, right? Because defining self-worth, knowing what it is, and then actually having self-worth and being able to share that with friends and family is completely different. And I just want to highlight one of the post-it notes that they did, saying that you can be your friend's biggest fans, right? Tell them how appreciated they are, that they're the best people in your life. Like, let them know they're beautiful and they're loved, because sometimes it feels really good to hear that and to say that to others. All right, for sake of time, we're gonna keep moving. Okay, so the project is based on something called creative resistance, and that is mostly by Black and Brown artists who use digital platforms to challenge norms and stereotypes to really take back the narrative of who they are and who their communities are. And these are some of the examples that the girls and I went through together. You know, we have examples of things my autism taught me. So we're talking about being on the spectrum, being disabled, how it's not a bad thing, how depending on the person, you can use people first language or identity first language. We've got things for the immigrant community. So que vivan los inmigrantes, immigrants make America great. And especially in the climate we are right now with our admin trying to criminalize all immigrants, this is something that's very much needed. And then these are just others, right? We're seeing, I love this one right at the top. It's this Black woman just laying down, existing. It says fragile on her shirt because most of the time Black women have to be strong or they have to be brave or courageous or they have to be leading something. But here she's just existing. She just is. And that's enough. So yeah, these were some of the examples we all went through, and we talked about all of the social justice topics and how they're all interconnected with each other. And to present to y'all, these are the girls from the program. So we've got Natalia, Camille, Taye, and Mary. And all of them went through different themes. So Taye focused on disability, and Mary focused on women's bodies and how they shouldn't look one way all the time and how it's actually dangerous if they did. Natalia is also focusing on women's bodies, but specifically on what her body looks like to her and how she's trying to break away from the mold of what everybody is saying should be normal. And Natalia did a reflective poem as one of her activities. So I won't read it to you, but it is titled To Love in the 21st Century. And then Camille focused on mental health in BIPOC communities because a lot of times communities of color don't talk about mental health and mental illness. And she also worked on short reflective activities to understand when she's making her video, what is she really trying to get at? And then this was some great feedback from the girls. We had some glows, you know, they really enjoyed the social justice conversations. I was a little nervous about it because I'm nervous, I'm excited. And the girls, you know, they want more community building time. They want to meet a little more often. They sometimes want to connect in person. And so for the next steps for what holds for the future for Digital Decode, our inaugural cohort ends at the end of June for us. And I'm going to use their feedback to make the program even better and then prepare for the second cohort to start in the fall. So that's not something I imagine doing at the start of this Innovator program, but I'm excited to, which leads me to another part, which is I need funding. So I will be reaching out to other funding opportunities and specifically asking white people to donate their money. And then also, I will be presenting the program at the National Women's Studies Association Conference in Puerto Rico of 2025. And that's it, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We now have the opportunity to take a quick 4-minute break. This is a bio break. You can stand up, grab water, stretch, grab a snack, or anything, because I think here at LookUp, it's very important to practice what we're preaching. And that means we shouldn't be on our screens for like crazy amounts of times. And I'm going to be honest, I've done that this morning, so I need a break. So go ahead, take 4 minutes. We'll be back. I'm on the 50, I'm starting the time at the 50 mark. So at 54, we will have everyone come back and we'll finish out with about 2 to 3 presentations. Until then, we'll see you. All right, we are at the 2:54 mark for me, probably 5 for other folks. If you can just start coming back on in, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed, took a little break, maybe touch some grass. I don't know, something fun. All right, so I'm gonna give it maybe just another minute for everyone to start coming back. Maybe if you're away from your computer, but you can still hear me, we're gonna get started in a little while. We are going to have next up will be what school didn't teach me. Very appropriate because school didn't teach me a lot. Gonna be honest. So Jasmine, whenever you're ready, you can take it away. I will start your time once your slides are up, and we will go ahead and just get right back to it. And again, to any of the adult allies who were asked to provide feedback, want to just remind you that you have those forms there for you, so you may take notes in real time and start providing that feedback. Want to make sure that you have that up and ready to go. And then, Jasmine, you are welcome to start whenever you're ready.
All right. Thank you so much, Kate. Just want to confirm that everybody can see the screen.
Looks great.
Okay, wonderful. So I know that we are at the LookUp Showcase Incubator or Incubator Showcase, but I just want everybody to take a moment and imagine with me that you are in a classroom, that you are in a seat with a desk attached to it. You're facing a chalkboard, because right now I just like to transport you back to school, right? And not just your regular K through 12, but I want to introduce you to what school didn't teach me. What School Didn't Teach Me is a podcast that I hosted. My name is Jasmine Kiamber Whitley. Just to build community on all the things that life did not prepare us for. You know, school can teach you so many things about English, math, science, but it doesn't necessarily teach you about emotional regulation, how to deal with comparison. And so there are so many things that you can only learn in the school of life, but the goal is to learn together so that we are not isolated. And so before I tell you a little more about what school didn't teach me, I just want to introduce myself. Again, my name is Jasmine Kiamber Whitley. I have a bachelor's of arts in psychology and pre-law. Mental health is literally my life. I believe it's my life goal to kind of be a form of representation for what I may not have seen growing up and specifically create safe spaces for people who may be underrepresented in certain communities to feel like they can be and belong and make mistakes and build community. And so I founded What School Didn't Teach Me from my college apartment because I was watching other people just deal with life, but they really didn't know how to deal with life. And instead of talking about it and, you know, gaining community from it, we were isolating ourselves. We were making ourselves think that we were the only ones struggling. And so I founded this podcast to really eliminate the stigma that we should have ourselves together. And that's something that I really feel like is shown on social media. So what's our problem? How does What School Didn't Teach Me relate to a digital wellness space and mental health? Well, there's a certain level of misrepresentation that is shown on social media. You know, like we heard a little bit earlier, on social media, you have to have a certain type of body. You have to have a certain type of hair type. You have to have these certain things that, you know, just aren't universal and sometimes are just not sustainable. And it leaves little room for people who look different, who are going a different route, who are living a different way. And so we want to make sure that we are holding space for people who may not be represented on social media. And so what are we doing? What School Didn't Teach Me is specifically doing intentional intervention. So we're having specific conversations to intervene between unreliable societal standards, because we all know that trends fade, we all know that trends change, and an individual's self-worth. So our specific theme for this season of the podcast is representation and representation. So we've been making an intentional effort to highlight certain voices that are walking the road less traveled, which is another thing that we're doing just as a podcast, highlighting those underrepresented voices. And then as a brand itself, because because one thing I've been learning through the Lookup program is that what school didn't teach me is more than a podcast. It is a brand, is to create more safe and neutral spaces for people to learn from each other and engage in community. What I call a digital third space, up until we can turn it into a tangible third space. And so for those who may not know, a third space is a environment that it's not home, it's not work, and it's not school, but it's also not a place where people expect you to pay or perform. We want people to know that they are safe to be who they are, to experience to experience the life that they live, and to have questions and to not know everything. And so one thing we've specifically been able to do through the Lookup program is to host a live podcast with an in-person audience, an in-person conversation. And so we called it More Than Likes: Consuming Social Media with Intention, with the idea that we are human beings. We are more than likes. We are more than how we portray ourselves on social media. And we want to make sure that the way we are portraying ourselves on social media is genuine to who we really are, that the things that we are consuming on social media is genuine to the place that we want to go, the people that we want to be. And so what I really thought was special about our live pod was we had the opportunity to talk to people of different, you know, ages and backgrounds and races, and we gave them the space to talk, right? My goal was, I did not want to get up there and people just heard me talk. I wanted to hear from the classmates myself. Honestly, we had people from all different ages. So if you can see my mouse, it's a young man right here on this far left image. He was the youngest, he was the second youngest person in the room, and he honestly became the star of the show with all of his wisdom and everything that he had to share about how social media affects him and what we can kind of do to make sure we use social media for inspiration, but not for comparison, that we use it in a way that is healthy for us and not harmful for us. And so we got a couple of statistics. One thing that I was really excited to do was to have a Menti meter on the screen for the people who came into the room to, before I even said a word, they can tell me how they feel about social media. We can go ahead and set the tone for the conversation. And a lot of people said many different things about social media, that it was a distraction, that it was overwhelming. But then I also heard things like it was inspirational, it was innovative, it was entertaining. And so we got to have both sides of the room participate in a conversation about what social media means for them and what kind of boundaries we can set to make sure social media stays healthy for us. And then I know I'm a little short on time, so I just want to show you these stats really quick. We were able to pull more feedback from the room. And one of the questions was, my timeline makes me feel. And so 20% of those participants expressed that they felt overwhelmed by social media. But only 13% said they felt relaxed. Luckily, there were more people that felt inspired than overwhelmed, but to be on social media and to not feel relaxed when social media should be an option is a problem. And so really quickly, I want to address, this was a question I had on the Mentimeter from people who were in the audience. I want to address this response on the bottom right. It says, if you had all the time in the world, what would you do? And this answer says, I would play Roblox with my friend Genevieve on call, and I would go outside. And so I know, she didn't have to tell me, but this response came from a young lady who's only 13 years old, which shows me that even at 13, there is a weight that you feel, a glue that you feel on your phone that you should not feel. And so really, really quickly, what school didn't teach me, where we had 2 years. I have been doing the podcast for almost 2 years, 3 seasons, and More Than Likes: Consuming Social Media with Intention was simply an idea. But then now, through Lookup, I have been able to figure out how to maintain longevity with the podcast, to make it not just, oh, sorry about that, to make it not just a podcast, but to really make it a brand. I had Mignon on the phone with me teaching me about brand colors. I had family helping me set up websites and all of these things to make sure that what school didn't teach me is accessible to more people. And so one thing that I felt like was really important to note was that throughout this entire process, I felt like the little engine that could. I'm a person that does deal with self-doubt. And so the entire time I was planning for the live pod, I was nervous, I was scared, I wasn't sure if it was going to go right. But the affirmation that I got from the people at LookUp, from Kate, from Mignon, and then from my support system, who's even here on this call, really pushed me to say, I think I can, I think I can. And so, what's next for What School Didn't Teach Me? Well, we're about to end our fourth season. I'm so excited to end that. We'll have the live pod air in August or September. We were able to launch like a book club, a blog. And so we're going to proceed with those things. But then a year from now, I'd really like to be able to have another live podcast to really increase the amount of people who are able to just have those conversations. And so there are multiple different ways to support. If you have, and then Mignon, if you have those links, please send those links. But there are multiple different ways to support What School Didn't Teach Me. Please be a part of our team. At the moment, I am a one-woman show, so I'm looking for members to just help me out a little bit, a social media manager, a video editor, and outreach manager. I'd love for you to be a part of the community, to sign up for our newsletter, our book club waitlist. If you have the space and capacity to donate monetarily, we'd love to officially trademark What School Didn't Teach Me as an official brand. And then we'd love funding for future live events. And then again, if you don't have space for that, tune into the podcast. Keep up with us on social media and check out our brand new website. We work very, very hard on that. And so just take a look at that and see if there is anything that interests you. And so to close it out, these are just some of my contacts. You can email me, connect with me on social media, connect with me on LinkedIn at Jasmine Whitley. Visit our website and tune into the pod. Thank you all so, so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And I love that you included ways to stay connected with your projects. I will ask the same question to all of the other innovators as well. So you have the same ability to tell us what to do, because we will do it. That's what we do at LookUp. You tell us what you need and we do it. The next team was unfortunately unable to be with us today. It was Shift SC. So what I'm going to do now is drop their fact sheet into the chat along with their link for their video. I want to make sure that you have that opportunity to take a look at it. So I'm going to drop it here for you. Give me one moment. There's their fact sheet. And then to recall their presentation that was recorded, I'm going to drop it here for you. Again, if we have any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in. And we will now move on to Chira. When you are ready, when your screen is ready, you're welcome to start sharing with us. And I will keep time for you as well.
Sorry, give me a sec. I am having a little issue with the Wi-Fi, but it should be connecting now.
Yeah, no worries.
Just checking, can everyone see the screen?
It looks great.
Perfect. So hello everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Chira and I'm part of Center for Youth and AI. And I'm super, super excited to share a little about what we've done and the impact that we hope to continue to have. It was super inspiring to hear about everyone's projects and the impacts that you guys are having. So it's truly, truly an honor to be a part of this community. So a little bit about where we kind of started early at this lookup journey at the start of the cohort. What we did was we surveyed a sample of 1,017 American teens ages 13 and 18. We wanted to study, with all of this growth and change with AI, how does it actually impact youth? How does it impact their mental well-being? How does it impact their confidence in our future? Does it spark any anxiety? Um, we wanted to study that. So we did the sample with 1,000 teens from around the US, and it got published in Time. So if you guys want to take a look at the data, feel free to go to the article at Time. And yeah. So one thing that we noticed out of that research was that a lot of young people face uncertainty and anxiety because of these changes that AI are bringing to the world, particularly how it's altering job markets, educational pathways, and even their social interactions. Some specific things that these youth mentioned in the survey is an uncertain future, lack of accessible guidance, how AI impacts their career prospects, and even goes to mental health and how they navigate relationships, especially digital relationships. So, here's like one of the excerpts that we had from the survey. I'm just gonna read it out. It says, honestly, AI kind of freaks me out. I mean, it's like technology's getting so advanced and smart, it's almost like it's taking over. But at the same time, I'm also kind of fascinated by it. I love how AI can help us with so many things. It's like having a virtual friend, I guess. I just hope that as AI gets more powerful, we don't lose touch with what makes us human. That's a scary thought. So I guess my feelings about AI are kind of mixed. I think it's cool, also a little unsettling. Does that make sense? So this was one of the um excerpts from the teens that we interview, who is currently in high school. So I think it shows just how much impact that AI is having to these youths already. And as AI continues to advance, we feel like this impact might grow. So we're thinking, how can we turn this into tangible impact? How can we make sure that youths have support to help alleviate some of these anxieties that come with these unprecedented rapid change of the digital landscape? So one thing we did was presented our research to various stakeholders who can build the support system for youths. So one that we did was a presentation at ASU GSV conference, which is one of the largest AI education conferences in the world. So we talked to teachers and edu innovators on how AI might impact youth, especially their social connection. Another thing is for the Rhythm Project, they have this amazing card game that has been used all around um, the nation, especially by universities and professors, to facilitate conversation about how AI can affect social well-being and connection. And one of the things that they wanted to do was turn it into something digital to make it more accessible for people all over. And so that's what we partnered with them to do as well. It's, if you guys go to the link, it's working right now, but it's still in beta mode. Um, and it's being tested at various educational institutions around the US right now. And the hope is that through facilitating this, are we can make youths and people that work with them, teachers, schools, are more aware about how this AI can affect human connection and facilitate kind of conversations towards that. But the main work that we wanted to apply during this lookup period is to create a young person's career guide for the age of AI. And unfortunately, we didn't get to go to the MVP, but we did do a bunch of progress in terms of doing the research, the concepting, finding partners, and all the other aspects. And yeah, so we compiled and annotated a database of future-proof research, just things on guidelines. We defined already the kind of the architecture of how we want the game or the interactive guide to look like. We also have a low fidelity prototype drafted for it. So, and right now we're still using volunteer UX designers, but I think once we go towards high fidelity, we really want to be able to have the funding to support these designers. And then we have some messaging tests with input from experts. And then we also have some formal collaborations with other organizations who's working in the same space, for instance, Decode. And we also did outreach to over 30 youth AI clubs and career services for feedback, cross-posting, and other parts of that. And so what are the next steps? So I think the next steps is the core of the impact that we want to have, which is actually building this career guide. And so it will be things like finalizing the website copy, creating the explainer videos, conducting focus groups with youths to get feedback and see what we can do with that, have expert reviewers review the content, both in terms of messaging, psychological effects, and also in terms of the technical accuracy of it. We also would launch week events with partners that we've identified during this lookup program, and definitely continue to try and get feedback and iterate to improve it. So yeah, huge thank you to everyone at Lookup, including all of the innovators and the adult allies. Being a part of this community has been absolutely amazing. Thank you for all of the support. And honestly, also to the other fellows, thank you for being a huge source of inspiration, kind of hearing all of your projects and having this community of change makers is truly something amazing. So thank you so much. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Mignon, for all of the support and inspiration. And so yeah, that is all for me. Thank you so much. And yeah, hope you guys all have a lovely rest of your day.
Sure. Thank you so much. I do have one question for you. Is there something about AI that you wish more of us understood, considered, or knew about? Because I know it's a really hot topic right now. Wanted to pick your brain on that.
Definitely. I think one is that AI is truly driven in two ways. So like one is by the data. So how an AI analyzes things is based on its data. So if its data is biased, then the results would also be biased. But then there's also a second part of it, which is how the developers are creating it. What kind of safeguards are they placing? What kind of instructions are they putting in? Are they purposefully mitigating some biases or safeguarding certain topics that might be harmful to kids? Or are they purposefully making it as addictive as possible to make users hook on it? So I think that's what I wish more people know, that how much of it is influenced by various sources. It's not just like, oh, AI is this one thing that's neutral. It's really not. As a system, it is neutral, but the data and the developers help shape it. And of course, the way that we write and prompt things also affect what output we get. So it's really kind of multiple perspectives that affects what results we get.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. So now at this point, I want to first say thank you so much to each and every innovator team who spent the time from January to now to work on, fixing everything that you all talked about. Like, we have these pain points. Thank you for your commitment. I want to also just remind you, like, take a deep breath and acknowledge the fact that you've done the work and sit in it. Like, truly give yourself that credit. Um, it's going to sound like I'm a broken record, but truly celebrating your wins prevents your burnout. And I feel like as social innovators, change makers, you're like probably ready to go to the next thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But first, before celebrate yourself. You have to. You have to. So really, thank you so much. For all of the teams who didn't get an opportunity to plug what we can do next, your websites, or maybe where we could find a trailer, or if we do want to be part of a beta for maybe the tabletop game or anything, drop it in the chat, let us know. And if you have any like final thoughts, we do have a little bit of extra time left. You're welcome to, say what you want us to do and we'll do it. Um, my biggest takeaway too is that funding is what's next. So, funding in the next sense of community. So, again, just kind of reminding everyone else in the room, the adult allies, they need money, they need connections, they need community. So really thank you for everyone for being here. You're welcome to finish up for the adult allies in the room. You're welcome to finish up some of your thoughts, and this will be recorded for you, so you can go back and put in your thoughts and finish all of that out. To the innovators, your time with us is not quite over yet. Yes, this is the showcase. There's probably not much work left to be done. However, your access to us, your access to your funds, and access to the resources that we've provided you with, you have that until the end of the month. And then a special shout out to Salma. You have an additional month after the fact. Congratulations. Um, I think that's all I have for now. Susan, do you have any closing thoughts for
Yeah,
us?
I just wanted to congratulate you. And there's some, board members on the call who have been with me, been with Lookup since 2019. And it's pretty amazing to see what you all have done, especially you're the sixth cohort, and really zeroed in on issues. When I started looking at this, the impact of social media on mental health, and then it grew into other aspects of responsible technology. Started looking in 2014, nobody even knew really what I was talking about. I had to explain. 2019, our first Innovators, we really led a designathon to explain the interconnection between this. And so to just listen to you all today and hear how sophisticated, how nuanced, and how powerful your solutions to these issues that unfortunately continue to get bigger. And I love that we ended with AI because that is really, a lot of people are saying, sort of the new frontier. Can we jump on the safety around AI rather than letting the cat out of the bag the way we did with social media? So just to let you know, this is really exciting for me. Sixth cohort, 6th year of Lookup, and you're doing phenomenal work. And actually, what Kate said about the continuing work and the funding, that's one of the things that we're really working on to expand, is to connect you with other organizations that are giving funding, because this has become a very strong youth movement. So thank you.
And in true fashion of what I try to do for every single meeting is to give you some of your time back. So we were slated for the 30-minute mark. It is 21. As always, you are welcome to just hang out and talk and chit chat. However, I know that we all have busy lives, so if you want to drop off, you're welcome to. Again, big thank you to everyone, and thank you to the Lookup team. Mignon, she has kept everything fresh for me and has been such a great support. And it's amazing that she's been able to help you all individually in these really incredible ways. Susan, thank you so much for just creating this space, for letting us serve youth who are doing something about this. Um, yeah, I I'm the type of person who can just gush for forever, so I'll restrain myself and stop. But really, thank you. You're welcome to drop off if you want to hang out and chat, you can. But really, we'll be in touch. And as always, to our innovators, yes, the program has ended, but your connection to us does not expire ever. Okay? Keep that in mind. Yeah, stay in touch, everyone.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
We did it, guys.
You did it.
Finally over.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of
Susan and
course.
Kate, I just wanted to say thank you. I mean, I'm thinking now because I remember talking to you guys, I think it was like a year ago. And it was way before like the applications and everything, and like the film was just an idea, and I was just trying to, and you guys were so kind and just reaching out, just talking with me. And I think it definitely set me and like the team down this path. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It
Really
really
exciting.
is. Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Anyway, bye.
Bye. See ya.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like time went by so fast. Like, I feel like it was just the beginning of the year and now we're done. I'm like, I can't believe it. But I
Yeah.
just want to say thank you so much. And I'll definitely do my best to stay connected with all of you. So thank you again.
Of
Also, I have
course.
a quick question. Will the recording be shared?
Yes, it will.
Okay, perfect.
I'll
Perfect.
have a follow-up email for you.
Yay. Thanks
Mhm.
so much again. Enjoy
Yeah.
the rest of your night, everyone.
You too. Thank you, Clementina.
No problem. Bye-bye.
That's a really